Patriotism is the foundation of any country, with the populace expected to be loyal to the heritage and value system. Patriotism is the surest way to instill a sense of belonging among citizens and national identity as a united front against all negative vices that is contrary to national interests. The recent happenings surrounding the detained Binance executive Najim Anjawala, who escaped from custody in Nigeria, is raising questions of patriotism on the part of Nigerians involved in the saga, as the federal government launches manhunt from the suspect against the backdrop against this backdrop, Nigeria Today will examine the role of some Nigerians in his escape, and of course the security implication of this. Thanks for joining us. I am Ikeria Clinton. Welcome to Nigeria Today. Joining us in the studio tonight is David Akoji. He's a Director, Special Duties and State Operations, National Orientation Agency. You're welcome to Nigeria Today.
It's a pleasure to be here once again.
Also with me in the studio is Dr. Kingsley Uzoma. He's a security expert and also the CEO, Eagle Rescue and Alarm System. You're welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thanks for having me.
I will start with you, David. Now, you're aware of the incident that we're talking about, the escape of the Binance executive that that just happened. Now, how can Nigerians ensure that their action is not at the detriment of national interests?
Well, the first thing Nigerians need to realize is that this country belongs to all of us. We have a stake in it. Even if we're in diaspora, even if we don't live here in Nigeria, we have a stake. We have cousins, we have brothers, we have sisters, we have friends, and we have loved ones who live here in Nigeria. So we all have a definite stake in this country. If you're living in diaspora, you need to also realize that there's nowhere like home. We have traveled to many countries and we have found that it is not home. People always look forward to coming back home. So we have a stake here. Nigerians tend not to see clearly what that stake is, and that's why perhaps sometimes they don't key in to national interest. Then the national interest begins to become somewhat fuzzy, But we all need to know that this country is ours and we need to protect it. We need to work towards ensuring that it prospers and that the negative elements in our midst do not get the better of us.
Thank you very much. Now, Dr. Kingsley, now with this recent event that just happened, what does this tell or what does it reveal of the capability of our security agencies?
Well, to start with, we must admit or see it as a national embarrassment to us, and especially if it's an event that took place here in Abuja, not any other location. And beyond that, I think for me as a person, one would have expected that after the Kuje prison break, we should have taken issues of security and especially custody of persons awaiting trials very seriously, okay? Because there are issues that are involved in this case of the Binance executive. You remember you are dealing with a foreigner and other nationals. If his country wants to take it up, is another diplomatic issues between that country and Nigeria. Even if they had arranged or facilitated his escape from Nigeria, they can as well sue Nigeria demanding their citizen that is in our custody. Then again, the statement maybe that some of us saw online being issued, released from the Office of the National security advisor. It calls for question that somebody under the custody of the national security advisor was able to meander, find his way out of the system and out of the country. Does it mean that we really have a loosed security, or we have people in the security sector that are actually working against the government? Yes, we know that by his capacity and the business is more or less like a mafia game, and he can afford to fund his escape. But again, that brings us to the issue of patriotism that you opened this conversation with.
Now, in your own view as a security expert, would you also agree to the fact that there's been a kind of compromise?
Yes, there is compromise in the sense that we must admit that...
In the part of some Nigerians
Yes,
now.
on the part of Nigerians and those in the security circle, okay? That issue of maybe unity of peoples across all the different security layers are not there. Because when you are talking of somebody under the custody of the National Security Advisor, it doesn't mean that the National Security Advisor has its own security department like uniform men working only with the police. No, the police are there, they are represented, the DSS, the army, and all the relevant key security actors. So it shouldn't be a situation whereby you have one agency policing him. If you have the police, there should be a joint unit. And those attached to him directly, you have another unit policing them. So you see police policing police, everybody policing each other. And again, if he had passed through the land borders, we should have surveillance systems. The airport, we should be able to play back CCTV footage, even where he was kept under custody. The area, if he visited malls, if he visited prayer centers and everything, somebody of his level, and because of the security concerns, the Office of the National Security Advisor should be able to have a footage of all this to be able to track that. We shouldn't be waiting 48 hours, 24 hours. He cannot give account or spot his exact location. Even if he has left Nigerian borders, it can happen to any country. Yeah, but we should be able to be precise that currently he is in Kenya and he's under surveillance, and we are doing everything possible to extradite him back to face his crimes has been...
Now, David, you know, listening to Dr. Kingsley there, I just remember that this is not peculiar to Nigeria. You know, of course, we've had a certain situation like that from the US. Okay, so tell us, what's the implication of our actions or inaction as it concerns national interests?
Well, in this specific case that we're talking about now, our national interest, which I think is collective, all of society interest, is that this person was being investigated for alleged crimes around one, terrorism, facilitating terrorism financing, and money laundering. These are currently some of our biggest challenges in this country. Every day you wake up to stories of people being kidnapped, of huge ransoms being paid, you know, and things like that. And people keep asking the questions. How is that money that is paid as ransom, usually as cash, how is it handled? Where is it taken to? You know, what processes, you know, does it follow to become useful to those who have perpetrated these crimes? And then you have an investigation ongoing against an institution and the leaders of that institution with regards to Africa and Nigeria around the challenges of terrorism financing. And people, Nigerians, do not want to see it as their problem. That's national interest, you know. And then the challenge of money laundering, you know, the tax evasion, you know, and opening up the space for people to transact in the dark, huge sums of money, 24-point-something billion dollars. Have gone through this Binance process within a short period of time. And you ask the question, how does that even compare to our national reserve? You understand? And then you begin to know the economic implication and why the government of Nigeria took this matter as seriously as they did to invite these guys, detain them, and begin to investigate them and ask them to reveal the Nigerians who are doing these transactions. So it's that serious. And it concerns all of us. Every time, there's no household in Nigeria that is not affected one way or the other by the challenge of terrorism, especially the kidnapping component. If you have not had a family member that's been kidnapped, I'm sure you are affected when you see pictures and videos in the social media and on television of young children being held captive for no fault of theirs, and then somebody is using them to leverage to force out huge sums, of money. So it affects all of us in the society. And unless we begin to see it from this perspective, we will think that it is their problem. No, it is all of our problem. The fact that you can not go to your losing purchasing power, the fact that the Nigerian currency, thanks to what government is doing currently, it's been gaining, seriously over the past few weeks, but purchasing power is lost. People can't go to the market and buy for the same amount the kind of things that they could buy before. Now, this is how it affects all of us. The money laundering component of this, as well as the terrorism financing component, affects every one of us directly. And so we should be concerned. We should be patriotic.
Now, talking about this aspect now, a lot of persons don't know the extent of probably, will I put it, the damage that, certain persons did through these, the Binance thing and all of that. They're just looking at it from, the money aspect, people make a lot of money and all of that, but they don't really know the extent it has gone in, jeopardizing the future of our economy. Well, we'll continue the conversation, but we'll take a short break now and listen to some Nigerians on the issue at stake. Please don't go away.
Work. Everybody has to contribute to his own quota. Everybody has to be patriotic to see Nigeria be a developed country. If you don't contribute your own quota, the nation will never work.
It is necessary for every Nigerian to show patriotism. There are ways. Already government has said, if you hear something, say something.
I think every patriotic citizen should work hand in hand with the government, and we should be watchful. We should be our neighbors' keepers. We should always be vigilant of everything around us in our environment, and we should always report to the right authorities so that they know what to do before things get out of hand.
Welcome back. This is still Nigeria Today. We are talking about the Binance saga and patriotism, and I have in the studio two gentlemen. Dr. Kingsley,
Yes.
Of course, you had one or two things people there had to say, but what measures should be put in place to enhance the accountability of security agencies, especially when they are dealing with high-profile, figures or transnational corporations and the rest of them?
Okay, beyond dealing with high-profile figures, because for me in the field of security, yes, there is need to isolate, but you must treat every case very serious. And it starts from the process of recruitment. Who are you recruiting into the service? How patriotic is that person? Does these individuals have passion for the security job and to serve their fatherland or their motherland? Or just because there are these opportunities, they happen to know somebody that knows somebody to help them scale through to the service, okay? And you have people who are in the service and they want to choose where to be posted. I want to be deployed the Office of the National Security Advisor because there is money there. Not that you are qualified. You talk to somebody that knows somebody, and at the end of the day, they facilitate your way there. You see, that person, you will not get the dividend of professionalism in service delivery. And gone are those days you see maybe in the security service, there is routine redeployment. You can go to a unit or place where they are deployed, you are seeing one face over and over, day in, day out. Okay, it doesn't help the system. The fact that I am on duty post here today doesn't mean it's my private business or the right place for me to be. Tomorrow I can be changed, or the next hour. So, but somebody who lobbied his or her way in and be posted there to serve there months after months, year after year, definitely there will be compromise. Okay, so in terms of when these people are trained to be there, you are not just training to watch over the VIPs or the facilities. Somebody also needs to be tagged behind you to watch your back. Okay, you need to please, like I will always say, you need to please the police, and technology must complement human effort. Okay, if there were somebody in the control room and so it's suspicious movement or something, they would have reported to the appropriate authority. Sir, unit commander, this, there is something I'm suspecting. Kindly follow this up. Okay, and they will raise another unit that will monitor movement of these guys, and that falls back to maybe in a nation where you see you have the secret police, the DSS, and this happened. You should question their relevance in the society. Even if every other unit fails, the DSS that we expect them to do the underground work shouldn't fail us as a nation in these regards.
Now, David, in what ways can individuals and communities contribute, to enhancing patriotism and, of course, national pride in Nigerians? Because if you have that pride that I am a Nigerian, definitely you wouldn't want to see somebody come into your country to sabotage your economy.
You see, the first thing to understand about patriotism is that patriotism is not love for a political party in power. Patriotism is not love for a governor in a state. Patriotism is not love for a president or for any person, for a chief or whatever. Patriotism is love for country.
Irrespective of who is
in power. Because you see, those who occupy positions, they transit over time. And this is self-evident. The people that were in power last year are not in power today. Those that were in power 9 years before were not in power 8 years, So they transit. But this country remains. So our national interest is how to preserve the integrity of our country, the economic prosperity of our country, the security and well-being of our citizens. These are core aspects of our national interest, and it has to do with all of us. So Nigerians must first understand this fact. You don't set your house on fire because you think an aspect of it is dirty. Is that what we do as people? You don't. You don't go out and collude with enemies who are working to destroy your country, who are working to destroy your economy and destroy your national security. You don't go out to work with those ones and collude with them, because one component of your house is not clean, and then you go and invite armed robbers to come and rob everybody in it. And no. There's something wrong about that mindset, and it needs to change. We all have a commitment to ensure that Nigeria not only survives, but that it thrives and prospers and becomes strong to its God-given potential, so that we can all robustly benefit from a prosperous country. And Nigeria has everything it takes to be prosperous, except for some of these infractions that you see, which tend to undermine our security and undermine our economy.
Okay, Dr. Kingsley, now, how can the public, talking about us as Nigerians, support and hold the security agencies accountable for certain decisions and actions?
Well, holding them accountable for me is very simple, because the security actors, they are not aliens. It's either they are fathers, uncles, brothers, relatives, and what have you. So we all have a way of relating to them outside the office and also at the office. So we should be able to communicate with them as husbands, fathers, that dad, brother, darling, don't you think this thing should have been done this way in order to give us that pride as a nation or security agent? But if they are doing badly, at home you remind them, we are not proud. People are complaining. But you see, but because it's your husband or your brother, each day they go out there, come back alive, you tend to praise them because they are bringing money home. It's not enough. Things are not working the way they should work for us as a nation. From kidnapping of school people to travelers to this. And again, we are not suffering this Binance saga, not because we are really loosed as a nation. The answer is no. The government took steps. But there are also the political angle of it. Those who want to downplay, to discredit the government. So there are those who look for avenue through which they can help him to create an escape route so you can downplay the government in power. You might think that you are working against the APC government or something to really show that they are not qualified. But it falls back to you because we have no other nation other than Nigeria. All of us have stake. Thank God, as NTA, you've provided this platform for us to be able to support, say, things can be done this way. But going forward, because one of the mistakes we made as a nation, the security agencies, the NFIU, when you are monitoring, you see that a lot of Nigerians have keyed into this digital transaction or banking. You should have been able to bring them in, have them to register the Nigerian version of the finance. So you can regulate them according to our own law. You see, globalization or digital economy is so porous that you can hide anywhere and they attack anywhere. Move your money anyhow. The little money you see them move from POS somewhere in my village could credit somebody's account to purchase something from the Binance platform, and you see them, the clusters of it from different locations, and you have a very high proportion of funds, crowdfunding, and you're able to move either on terrorist financing, procurements of small arms and light weapons, and everything. As long as the computer is concerned, it sees the thing as binaries, zeros and one. You can easily fake identity there to commit whatever you need. And as high as we are not pleased over this development, certain people has also popped champagne for his escape.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, David,
Yeah.
your final thought, your closing thought for this
So I think that
discussion.
we should all feel concerned, about the efforts that government is making to revive our economy. Some of those efforts are already yielding very clear results. You can see that the Naira is gaining, in comparison to the dollar. You can also see that the kids that were kidnapped at Kauri, 130 of them. Kuriga, yes, 130 of them. You can see that they've been rescued, and they're back after spending, I think, 7 days or so, with the kidnappers. So efforts are being made for which government should be commended, and Nigerians should support those efforts by providing information, and by complementing these efforts with patriotism, knowing that patriotism means I love this country so much, I don't want it to go down.
Well, thank you very much. With that, we'll wrap up today's episode of Nigeria Today. A very big thank you to David Akoji, Director, Special Duties and State Operations, National Orientation Agency. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
And Dr. Kingsley Uzoma, the security expert and CEO, Eagle Rescue and Alarm System. Thank you so much for your time.
It's my pleasure.
And your contribution. Thank you for being part of the program. Don't forget Nigeria Today is weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can also watch these and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. We'll also have a repeat by 10 p.m. tonight. Thanks for watching. I am Eukaria Clinton. Goodbye.